On a small island amidst a calm sea, a couple is swimming and having some fun. After a while, they decide to leave as the tide is already rising. That's when the girl sees something passing close to them in the water and gets scared. Her boyfriend tries to calm her down and tells her to return to the boat, that everything is fine. The rope anchoring the boat is old, and as they swim back, it begins to break. At the same time, we can see the shadow of a large shark heading towards them, attracted by the noise of the couple's arm and leg movements. The woman reaches the boat, but when she looks back speaking to her boyfriend, she only sees a large red stain in the water, indicating that the worst has happened to him. The man even manages to resurface and ask for help from his girlfriend, only to be pulled back down and killed once again. The girl in despair tries to climb fully onto the boat when suddenly the old rope we saw before breaks completely, causing the boat's sail to rotate and hit her squarely in the face, causing her to fall unconscious into the water. Sometime later, we see Charlie and his girlfriend Kaz, finishing another day's work at Pear Air, an entertainment service for people who want to take a ride in a single-engine plane and see the beautiful landscapes of the region. While they are at home resting a bit, Charlie receives a call on the phone from a potential client who needs their services for the next day. He gets really excited as it would be an extra gain for that week. The next day, Charlie and Kaz prepare the plane along with their helper Benny. Shortly after, a car arrives and from it comes the couple Joe and Michelle, who had hired Pear Air's services for the whole day. After introducing themselves properly, they begin to board the plane, but before something strange happens between Benny and Michelle, where Joe notices an unusual exchange of glances and starts to be rude to Benny. They soon take off and see the stunning and breathtaking landscapes of the region. The route for that day was to go to a small deserted island and enjoy the ride. While they're on their way there, they begin to talk about whether there might be sharks in the region they're going to, but Charlie, who has a background as a marine biologist, assures them that there aren't, at least not at this time of year. He mentions that during his time working as a biologist, he had an accident with a shark that ended up taking a piece of his leg. When they arrive on the island, Kaz informs them that the place was renamed Hell's Reef, after a pearl hunter's boat shipwrecked there in 1951, where 8 crew members were stranded on that island for 15 days without water and food, with only one of them surviving, an 18-year-old Japanese. That's when Michelle reveals that this survivor was actually her grandfather and shows a photo of him. She also reveals her real motivation for being there, which is to fulfill his last wish by scattering his ashes there to rest together with his friends who died in that shipwreck. Charlie and Kaz stroll on the beach and they talk a bit, seeing dolphins and admiring the beautiful scenery of the place. Soon Kaz surprises Charlie by telling him she's pregnant, which leaves them very worried but also happy. Suddenly Benny calls them to show them a dead person on the beach due to a shark attack, the same man attacked at the beginning of the film. They comment on this fact and before leaving, Benny mentions that the man's wife may still be alive, so they need to find her because she wouldn't survive alone. Joe, wanting to return, tells them to leave the case to the Coast Guard, but Charlie doesn't want to, so they go to check some places to see if they can find the woman. Moments later, they find an overturned boat and go to take a closer look. Soon Benny decides to take a look underwater while the others wait for him to return. Benny discovers it's the boat of the attacked couple, and inside, he is startled by the woman's body, which is disfigured and bitten. He quickly returns to the plane and tells them there's no hope, as the woman is also dead, leaving them worried about the situation. Then, as they all prepare to leave, Benny exchanges glances with Michelle before entering. However, she sees a shark rapidly approaching, which soon attacks the plane, causing Benny to fall into the water. The attack damages the base that makes the plane float, causing it to begin to sink. Benny grabs an inflatable raft, and they head towards it. Before leaving, Charlie tries to send a distress call on the radio, but they have to hurry because the plane keeps sinking. The dangerous shark surrounds them, so their only chance is the life raft, as the plane has completely sunk, leaving Charlie frustrated and adrift along with the others. The group analyzes their desperate situation, as they are 150 kilometers away from the coast, and even if help comes, it will take days for them to be found. Charlie says for now the current is in their favor, but they'll need to row for a day if they want to reach any safe place. Joe is very unhappy with the situation, creating a tense atmosphere between him and Charlie, who nervously asks if Joe has a better plan. Night will soon come, so Charlie says they should return to the land from the movie they were at before. The couple worries about the creature in the water, but Charlie reassures them, saying maybe it will go away. They begin to row and face the vast expanse of water ahead of them, and using his compass, Charlie guides them to their destination. However, the creature follows them underwater, a large great white shark. Moments later, inside the boat, Charlie asks Benny about the shark, and Benny says the creature must be at least 5 meters long, while Kaz helps Michelle with her wound. Michelle talks about why Joe is irritated, as he has a fear of water due to an accident when he was younger, but she convinced him to go on this trip that unfortunately is becoming a nightmare. As night falls, the group continues their journey in search of solid ground. Meanwhile, we see the large shadow of the shark in the water following them closely, but to make matters worse, it's not just one, another one soon appears ahead. The group takes turns rowing and resting. Charlie says they must have advanced only about 15 kilometers. Suddenly, Joe is startled to see a fin next to the raft. Thinking it's a shark, he starts rowing harder, shouting for the shark to go away, but Benny calms him down, saying it's just a harmless pair of dolphins. After calming down, they continue rowing. Soon time passes, and night falls. At one point, frustrated, Joe talks to the group, saying he's a great analyst, and analyzing their situation, he says their chance of survival is less than 5%. He questions Charlie, the good marine biologist he is, about the fact that the shark isn't around, but Charlie says he doesn't know. However, Joe suspects his knowledge and forces him to tell the truth. Then Charlie confesses that the creature is still nearby, which worries them even more. Wanting to reach their destination as quickly as possible, Michelle ends up pushing herself to the maximum and gets her hands calloused from rowing so much. Joe tears his shirt and covers her hand. Moments later, tired, some of them fall asleep, including Michelle, who can't take it anymore, letting the oar fall into the water, where the creature observes them. Michelle wakes up and says she accidentally dropped the oar. Fortunately, the piece isn't far, but someone needs to go get it, which scares Charlie as he still remembers the attack that traumatized him in the past. Seeing him scared, Kaz decides to go get it before he goes into the water. He tells her not to go, but she says she'll be fine. She carefully goes to avoid making noise in the water. However, after retrieving it and returning to the raft, a fin appears behind her, and frightened, she quickly swims back. The creature returns to the depths, and they are relieved that Kaz is okay, but they become more frightened as the creature continues to lurk around them. Amidst the vastness of the sea, Benny and Joe continue to row, while Kaz and Michelle change into warmer clothes. Kaz manages to change, but Michelle struggles, and seeing this, Benny tries to help her, but obviously not accepting it, Joe pushes him away from her. They argue, and soon Joe pushes Benny out of the boat. Benny reappears in the water, and due to his arm being injured from before, he struggles to return to the boat. Charlie and Kaz extend their hands to help him, but before he can climb aboard, Benny is dragged underwater and killed by the creature. This leaves everyone saddened by the loss and angry with Joe. Time passes, and they drink a little water during the rain. Later, while checking their belongings, Charlie finds a knife, and thoughtfully tells everyone that if he could get close enough to the creature, he could hit its tiny brain. Kaz doesn't like the idea, and since it's a bad plan, Charlie gives up. He puts away the equipment, and Michelle asks him to also store her grandfather's ashes. The creature is still nearby, but the group, unaware of where the danger is, continues to row. Moments later, they are surprised by the shark overturning the raft, causing everyone to fall into the sea. Fearing the worst, they need to return as quickly as possible to it. However, only Kaz, Charlie, and Michelle return, where unfortunately Joe is also killed by the terrifying shark. Michelle is shaken by the loss and tries to go after her husband, but Charlie doesn't allow it and tries to calm her down. Suddenly, Joe emerges in the water again, badly injured. Quickly, the group tries to reach him, only to be disappointed as the creature carries him away again. At dawn, and hopeless, Michelle scatters her grandfather's ashes into the water, asking for his soul to take care of her husband's soul. Seeing Michelle's spirit, Kaz goes to her and tries to cheer her up not to give up, as they would make it. Unfortunately, Charlie delivers some bad news, where the shark punctured the raft, with that their chance of escape is losing air, and soon the raft won't float anymore. Moments later, even without one of the paddles, Kaz and Michelle paddle with their hands, while Charlie makes a harpoon with the remaining paddle and the knife he had. The two rest for a moment, then the creature reappears, and Charlie prepares to attack it, but the shark circles them closely. Charlie soon realizes it's not just one, but two sharks. Charlie and the two are frightened, and he tries to hit one of the creatures with his improvised weapon, but without success. Time passes, however, the situation remains tense, as one of the sharks attacks the boat, causing Kaz to fall into the water. Charlie quickly pulls her back in, and soon the three join together to stay safe. Time passes, and while they slept, they didn't realize the boat was getting drier and with water inside. When they wake up, they realize the beach is only a few meters away. Excitedly, they push a little harder to reach solid ground as quickly as possible. However, danger approaches them again. To make matters worse, the boat won't float for much longer, so Charlie has a plan. He grabs his equipment, a signaling gun, and hands it to Kaz, telling Michelle to swim to the beach. With that, and already decided, the two stay to face the two sharks, while Michelle continues to the beach. Charlie lures one of them to them, and Kaz shoots the creature in the mouth. Charlie mounts it, and he begins to pierce the shark's head until he hits a fatal spot. With one shark dead, they search for the other, which is following Michelle, who, fearing for her life, climbs onto a sunken boat near the beach. The shark then decides to return in search of an easier prey. Wanting to protect Kaz, Charlie pushes her, and he is attacked by the creature, which kills him. Kaz, saddened by this, decides to continue and go to where Michelle is. The two lament the loss of their husbands, but their moment doesn't last long, as the creature approaches them again and knocks them back into the water. Kaz thinks of something and lures the shark towards her so Michelle can continue to the beach. Kaz swims into the sunken boat, still followed by the creature. Kaz hides from the creature but is found by it. The shark tries to enter the boat's compartment, but upon entering forcefully, it causes the ship's debris to fall on it, thus trapping it. Kaz is cornered, and her breathing apparatus gets caught on an iron bar, causing her to run out of air and pass out. Fortunately, Michelle decides to come back and help Kaz, so she shares a little air, and Kaz wakes up. She looks for a way to finish off the shark, and finding a sharp iron bar above the creature's head, she hits the support holding the iron, causing the sharp piece to fall onto the shark's head, thus killing it. The film then ends, with the two leaving the water. They arrive at the island's beach feeling relieved to be alive, but now they will have a new challenge ahead of them, which is to survive hunger and thirst.